Kitchen. It's been a while since we shot a video, but we're starting something new today. So we got Uriah Soliz here with us. He's going to be our new member here in the Dirty Kitchen, and it's kind of like a new page, new chapter that we're rolling over. And I thought we'd call this one the Uriah Project. So that's what we're looking at today. Uriah's going to be starting a 3-month challenge. We're going to give him a target, give him some numbers, and we're going to help him along the way here with what we learn, what we share with you guys, and as things go along, we're going to watch the progress, and it's just going to be something fun to look back at in the future. So what I always like to do is just with someone who's starting out with us, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but so I made a few notes thinking back, and so I guess I've been doing this for 8 years. So again, not super long, but not super short. So I've been doing it for a while, and obviously what you've seen around here, my duties are of course sales. That's the one thing I really focus on, but at the same time I'm kind of helping everybody else around here get stuff done, get projects done, answer questions, and kind of keeping things moving. So the one thing I think that's going to be nice for you is you really have to just worry about sales. Sales, the one thing you got to focus on. You don't have to worry about a machine breaking down or any of that stuff. You just got to sell, right? So
or take some of the pressure off of you.
Exactly right. Yeah, and we want to. It's gonna make your job, focused and easier, and that's what's good. But when it comes to what I like to learn in here, what I like to teach you, really, it's compressing decades into days, is the way you say it. So some people before us, they've spent their whole lives trying to learn this stuff and put it down on the paper, put it into a video. And that benefits us because we can learn what took them 10 years in a matter of 10 days, right? Save us all of the heartaches, all of the failures, all of the troubles because someone else already did it before us. So any of the stuff that we're learning, it's not something that I've come up with and I think I'm all smart and everything. I've just learned it from the best, and I'm just relearning it myself and then telling you about it too, so that you're not going down that path of trying to learn this when you really don't need to, right? So I'm trying to use that 8 years of experience to help you make your track even faster than mine was. So it's just kind of passing it down the line, right? So basically, the other thing that's interesting, right? So we're family business. So I've kind of got to play full out every day, right? Because this is the only thing we got. So I have nothing else to go back to. So I'm always learning. I'm always trying to improve. Always trying to help everybody because this is like the one thing that we've got, and we've got to make it work. So we're really fully invested, and it's not just a job for us, but it's basically everything we got. It's our life. So we're putting it all in there. So this is an interesting stat that I learned. So again, I was kind of telling you that when I got into sales, I didn't know how to sell, never read a book. I didn't even really want to do it. I just kind of needed to help out and had to talk to somebody, and they're like, well, you can make some extra money if you do that. I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And I didn't know what I was doing, right? So my first month, I only made $700 worth of sales. So I thought that was interesting. The whole month, not knowing anything, not having anybody tell me anything, I only managed to sell $700. So you're probably already almost at that mark, and you've only been doing it for a week.
About halfway.
Yeah, about halfway. But now, I've only actually been doing the selling itself for about 4 years. And after these 4 years, I'm averaging $60,000 plus every month. So from $700 to an average of about $60,000 or more. So it's not that's pretty fast, right? So I know that hopefully that you can get there even faster. And the one record month I've had was $90,000. So just doing a little bit of math on that, just to think big picture for yourself, a $90,000 month gets you about a $5,400 bonus check. So I'm sure you could do a lot with $5,400. Yep, and if you could do that consistently every month,
then
that would change your whole life, right?
That would change everything around here.
Change everything, yep. So the other thing is, like, I'm doing this probably 75% of the time. So even now that you're going to be doing it 100% of the time, I think you're going to be able, and I'm going to help you to see how fast we can fast track you to that section. So what our goal is, what we're trying to do here, me and you in the Dirty Kitchen, we're trying to build like a sales machine. So we're going to be the foundation, you and I, we're going to be the base. Now, of course, we had Marcus and Joey with us, and they've already helped me develop what we're going to do here. So I've already had to do this one time. We had a lot of awesome things we learned. And me and these guys sat down and we said, okay, so what can we do better? And we had a great meeting a couple times, and now we're at the point where that's what we're doing. Yeah, so that being said, we've already done this once, so we've learned along the way, and that's also going to help us because, like I said, every time we do this, it gets easier, it gets better, and it gets more efficient. So that's really cool. And what we're doing now with this video, we're on the Uriah Project episode 1 here. We're just going to document our rise. We're going to use it as a way for people to know who we are, to know who you are, to know who I am. And it's going to build us, as ourselves as men, and give us some character and give us something to be proud of. We're going to watch ourselves grow. We're going to say, hey man, remember back on November 19th, 2020, what that looked like? And then maybe, for example, November 19th, 2020, we're like, wow, that's what it used to be like. Yeah. So that's always fun. So in the first time we did this, we had some old videos, and that was before we even knew where to put the camera, and we had none of anything, and we're like, man, that's how we started. And it's just really fun to watch the journey. So even if me and you are the only people that ever watch this video, it'll be fun even for us. So what we want to do here now is I just want to introduce you guys to Uriah. So I'm going to ask him a few simple questions, just something to kind of give us some insight into about who you are. And so the first one I'm going to ask you is just tell us about yourself. Who are you? And give us a little insight into who Uriah Soliz is.
Well, big part of who I am is my dad was in the Army, so we moved around a lot. Got to see Europe, and always been moving around. And through that, I've always liked to draw. So for 6 years, I drew caricatures at SeaWorld, really enjoyed that. And then I realized, wait a minute, I was drawing the characters, but I was also selling them. So why don't I try getting into sales a little bit? So
awesome. Okay, so that kind of leads to the next one. So what made you kind of decide to want to start a sales career specifically and get out of just drawing and selling? Like, why did you say, hey, wait a second, why do I want to become a salesman? Why that?
I suppose I just was a little frustrated getting going with graphic design. Wasn't sure that my talents were there, or wasn't sure my portfolio was strong enough. So I decided to just broaden my range, try and branch out from what I was comfortable with. And I had a fallback because in my old job, you get a little bit of both. You did a little bit of the art, a little bit of the selling. And I thought, why keep myself just in one avenue? Why don't I try the other avenue?
I love that. Okay, and then so tell us a little bit about your journey. So you mentioned you guys moved around a lot. What else have you done other than doing your drawings at SeaWorld? Like, tell us a little bit about your journey to who you've become after 23 years up to today. Or did you play sports, or did you, what kind of turns you into the guy you are today? I know you help out at your church a lot. And
that would probably be it. Just helping out at church, reading the Bible, growing in that, learning from the example of other faithful people I know in my life, like my dad and all that. But sports, no, never been into sports.
Okay.
I guess just my dad teaching me a good work ethic, making me do all kinds of chores, and of course you resent that at first, but then when you get older you realize that was quite a good foundation to be set upon. So being a hard worker, I owe that to my dad.
Cool. Well, yeah, and that's a big thing in sales. Okay, I know you guys know if you're in sales watching this, but the harder you work, the better the results you get. You could have someone sitting beside you in the same office that's great at talking, great at presenting themselves, but if you're working harder, if you're getting more opportunities, then even if that person beside you is great, but they're only talking to 2 people and you're talking to 22, you're going to beat them. So it doesn't necessarily matter the talent you have, but if you have that hard work, which is why Uriah is here, we could tell right from the first time we met him, that's how you get success, especially in the sales game. So just tell us, this is an interesting question, but maybe what's some failures you've encountered in your life, okay? And what have you learned from them? And you're like, wow, okay, I learned this lesson, and now going forward, I know what to do and how to handle that the next time I encounter that situation. Anything that stands out like that?
One particular instance when I was working at SeaWorld, this guy came in and he wanted a caricature. He wanted 2 copies of a 3-color body drawing, so that's a big sale.
Okay.
So he gave me a photo. He wasn't able to sit down with his family for it, so I had to draw it from a photo instead of from life, which is what I'm accustomed to. So I drew it, took my time. He came back later and he didn't like it.
Like, you really put a lot of work into it?
I put a lot of work into it because I drew the same drawing twice.
Okay.
I'm not a photocopier, so I had to draw it all over again. But he didn't like the fact that I gave his son a gap in his teeth.
Okay.
But the kid had a gap. I mean, that's what a caricature is, folks.
Right.
I'm making fun of you here.
Okay.
But I forgot to ask them, you really got to ask what they want. And you have to take into account their desires. You can't just think that even though, all my training was into exaggeration.
Right.
So if you're coming to me for a caricature, I'm gonna exaggerate you.
Okay.
But it's still important to understand what they want. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, even if it's a perfect caricature, if you don't take into account what they want, then they're not going to buy it.
I love that. That's a great example. Okay, now on the flip side of that, maybe what's one of the biggest accomplishments you've had in your life and something that you're really proud of? It could be graduating, it could be getting an award in something you've done. What's something that you're really proud of if you think about everything?
Graduating, I'm not really as proud of that, and I guess most of the stories I'm going to tell are from my old job because I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But one of my greatest achievements was probably getting the Elite Award at my old job, the Commons Elite Award.
Okay.
And you get that by selling in excess of $1,200 in a day.
In one day?
In one day.
Awesome.
So that's
how
quite
many drawings
achievement.
would that be roughly?
Geez, probably like 40.
Wow.
So that's a lot of drawings in one day. So
how long does it take to do a drawing? Just
depending on how many people, 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 20.
So that was just like a full day?
Full day,
drawing
non-stop.
all day.
Take a minimal break or skip your break altogether. Stay late.
Okay.
So I got that once.
Awesome.
One time
Awesome.
during spring break, when it's spring break, that's our highest sales period. So the goal increases. So it wasn't $1,200. It was $2,000. And I almost got it. I got $1,800 in one day. That was the highest sales I ever made, so I'm really proud of that.
Okay, so that is awesome. I love that. So now, looking forward, tell us about maybe your vision or your goals that you have for yourself in this new role at AG West Ave. So what are you trying to see yourself accomplishing, or what are you kind of shooting towards right now?
What I'm shooting toward is really getting comfortable with the system, really getting adept, knowing the people, knowing how it works, knowing the printsmith. So right now, my goal going forward is to really just become adept at the job. And once I reach that point, I think I can have a more ambitious goal in mind. But right now, my ambition is to really get good at this job and to learn the ropes.
I love that. Okay, and now I know you kind of mentioned your father a little bit, but we're going to talk about these two last final questions. So tell us kind of about who you look up to as an inspiration, who you try to model yourself after, and then maybe even just a shout out to some people in your life that have helped you along the way to today that you just want to say, hey, thanks for being there for me.
There are a couple. Of course, my dad.
Yeah.
My dad instilled in me a good hard work ethic, which is what helped me excel in my old job. And at my old job, there were a lot of good mentors that helped me out through my 7 years. I might have said 6 earlier, but 7 years there. I'd have to say thanks to Ryan for helping me in my first year, really inspiring me to get good at the job. For Pat for really helping me through it out, through the long summers. Pat, Ryan, Kelsey, who was just a really good boss, really, believing in me and teaching me some good techniques. Candace for being there the longest and just really taking into account the suggestions that I made. And Kirsten, who was my supervisor, probably the closest friend I made there, just really being a good friend and helping me out. And all those people from Commons.
Well, that's awesome. So there you have it. So that's a little bit about Uriah. You guys are going to get to know him better as this series goes on. But I thought that was important for you guys to get to meet him and know a little bit about him. So with that being said, we're into our first kind of big lesson here in the Dirty Kitchen that we're going to talk about. We've touched on it briefly, but today we're going to go a little bit more in depth. So this is called the strategy of preeminence, which I wrote up on the board here. Okay, so there's a guy named Jay Abraham, and he is like a business legend, okay? He's grown, I think they call him the $10 billion man. And what he is he's a business consultant that goes into like the big top corporate firms in America and around the world, even over in Japan and China. And he does an in-depth study, and he figures out what you can do to just make that business grow and expand, and he's just got a special mind. That's what he does. So the one big lesson though that he's learned out of all of these companies he's helped, okay, is that you got to have what you call the strategy of preeminence. So that's what we practice here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that today. So from right now, this moment forward, November 19th, 2020 at 8:35 a.m., okay, I want you to see yourself in the relationship you have with all of the people that walk through the door, all of the people that you email, all the people that you bag drop, everyone that you talk to, you are now their most trusted advisor, their counsel, and their confidant in the print, marketing, design, and science space. So you have just become the #1 expert in this industry for anybody that you're going to talk with, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. You're the #1 guy. You have all of the answers. You have all of the best advice. And even if you don't necessarily have it right now, you're going to learn it. And then that's what you're going to be. When someone talks to you, you're not just kind of trying to make a sale. You're not just trying to see what they want. You're going to be the guy. You know everything. You have all the knowledge that they need to get the best results when they come talk to us, right? So we just want people to see us as the definitive source. If they have a question about anything marketing, even like I've explained to you, we've had some clients that ask us about stuff that has nothing to do with printing, but they still say that, hey, can you help me with this? Because they trust me, right? They say, oh, okay, this guy knows what to do, he can get stuff done. And they don't even bother to shop, they don't bother to go on Google, they just say, hey, Uriah's my guy, let's talk to him and I know he's gonna get me the result, okay? So that's what we really wanna think about. We wanna take on that responsibility of having interest in our clients. We wanna care about them, we wanna understand them, okay? And we wanna know what they need. We don't just want to, maybe they come to us and ask us, well, this is what I want. And then you say, okay, I understand that. Tell me what you're trying to accomplish. And then they tell you and you're like, wait a second, I know that's what you came in here thinking you wanted, but now that I know what you want, let me show you a little better way. And that's gonna be our responsibility, okay? So think back to like any experience you've had going to a restaurant or a shopping mall or even a grocery store, right? Has anybody ever come up to you, went out of their way to understand your needs, understand your desires, what you like, what you don't like, and then not just give you something off the shelf, but really say, hey, you're right, I understand that, let me get you this, because this is what you need. Can you think of any experiences really in the last little while that someone's done that?
Nothing comes to mind.
Right? Okay, so when you think about it like that, if you start treating people that way, they're gonna notice it. It's not gonna be something that they don't notice and like, wow, this guy really cares. I like that. And it's gonna create a connection and a bond. And they're gonna, every time they think about needing something, they're gonna say, well, that guy really cares, right? He knows what he's talking about. So why would they even spend any time or trouble going anywhere else when they have that trust and that faith and that bond with you, right? So that's what we want to try and build. So just think about that. Anytime you're encountering somebody today or tomorrow, or anybody that you've already talked to, we're simply changing our focus from us or me to them, okay? It's just a simple adjustment, but it's super powerful. And you can use that, of course, in business. You can even use it in life, in your relationships, right? Think about when you adjust that focus from me to you. It makes a big difference. But it's just something you have to be conscious of. You're not always thinking that way. So, you know, a lot of companies are going to do whatever it takes to make that one sale. They might even do something shifty to get more than they need, or, you know, to rip somebody off. Think about car dealers and all that stuff. They sell you the car, but then they give you all those things like the undercoating and the, you know, the bells and the whistles that you never use. And they especially seem to do, or mechanics have a kind of a bad rep for that, of knowing people don't know what they need. So they say, well, we got to fix the engine, we got to replace that thing, and they kind of take advantage. But why would you ever go back to somebody if you realize that's what happened to you, right? So that's the last thing we want to do here. We really just want to understand the situation, understand what they need, and then take that approach of being the advisor and someone they can trust. So that's our goal. It's the ultimate rule, and we're never ever going to let our clients purchase less than they should buy to accomplish their goals, and we're never going to make them have more than they need. So we're going to find that perfect balance. And just, you know, a little example of bringing it down to earth, making it real for printing. So let's think about this. If we're dealing with a high-class lawyer that wants a high-class look, you're not going to sell him a standard business card, because that's not going to give him what he wants, right? That's what we could sell him. It'd be easy. Well, it's only $39 for 250 cards. It'd be an easy sale. But is that really what he wants when he goes to the big board meeting and all the other lawyers have all this nice stuff and he's got this little cheap $39 business card, right? But on the other hand, let's say we're working with a brand new real estate agent. Maybe they're fresh out of school, it's their first job, they have no money. Maybe we're not going to sell them even the $250 business card for $39, but we're going to say, look, for $139, we can get you 2,500 business cards. It's going to make your money last a lot longer. It's a way better value, and the more people you meet, the more cards you have to pass out, it's going to be better for you, right? So maybe even we're not trying to sell them the cheapest product, but what's going to be best for them, it might be volume for just a little bit more. So that's just stuff you got to start to think about, start to think through, and just kind of reflect on how everything is going, and then say, well, this is what I think it's going to be for you. So, it just really relates to giving them that experience. We want to stand out, and the easiest way to do that is being the preeminent choice. So just all day today, we're going to leave that on the board. And before you talk to anybody, before you get into a conversation, think about preeminence and see if you can start putting that into action.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to think of ways to incorporate that into my calls or into my emails.
Yeah, it's just, and again, it's trust, right? And it's not like they're gonna trust you and you're gonna be the most amazing guy after the first day, but you might do that first sale and you're like, oh, that was nice. And then when you talk to them again, they're like, oh, he does know what he's doing. And then the third time, then it might be them, and they're like, okay, this guy's the guy for me. So it's not necessarily gonna all happen on the first try, the first attempt, but you're gonna build that. But you have to actually start somewhere, right?
That's right.
So if you keep it conscious in your mind, then I think that's a good way. So that's what we got for you guys today. This is the Uriah Project, episode 1. We're going to follow along with this. We're going to make things happen. But thanks for tuning in today. It's The Dirty Kitchen. You can catch us on all the social medias. It's at AG West Ave, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, we've got the podcast out there. It's anchor.fm/The Dirty Kitchen. So don't miss that, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.